r/AskReddit. What did you regret finding out? At the funeral my aunt told me that my brother was really not my brother. My parents took in the son of a family friend when I was 2 and raised him as their own. When I was 12 and he was 23, he was hit and killed by a drunk driver. I was crying and my aunt told me to stop being a whiny baby and that I have nothing to cry about because he isn't even your brother. I looked up to him and I loved him so much. I miss you, Russell. No matter what, you are my brother. Edited to let everyone know this happened 40 years ago and I am okay. The bitch is dead. She got cancer and she did suffer and I did not go to her funeral. Your aunt is a fucking dick, he was your brother. As someone with step-siblings, DNA is not what makes someone sibling. I thought of my step-siblings as siblings before they were by law, and that's simply because I see siblinga as a flexible thing. Sure, you have biological siblings and legal siblings, but at the end of the day, it also comes down to whether you see that person as a sibling. I say this because some people have this weird idea that step-siblings are not siblings or that even half-siblings are not real/full siblings. I get to define who I think my siblings are and nobody else. You get to do the same, OP. I am so sorry for your loss, OP. I don't know how I would cope losing any of my siblings. My heart goes out to you. When my grandmother died my mom had me send her, my grandmother's, engagement ring back to her second husband's family. She had it for 25 years, so it was a bit of a project, but I did it. When my mom passed away 2 years ago I found my grandmother's will. That ring was the only thing my grandmother had left for me. I always wondered why she left me out of her will because we were so close. I'm sorry you learned your mom is a dick. My grandmother gave my mom a ring that was passed down for generations. My mom didn't wear it because it didn't have a diamond. My grandmother went to my parents' house one day and found the ring on top of the microwave with some trash. She secretly took it and gave it to my aunt to hold as executor of the will. When my grandma passed, my aunt gave me the ring. I bawled like a baby when I got it and have worn it ever since she passed away. My dad told me not to tell my mom because she would be upset. My mom is a raging narcissist with borderline personality disorder, so she would actually try to force me to give it back to her. She just assumed she lost it. Way back in the day, I searched my name in my long-term girlfriend's chat log. I quickly found a chat of her and one of her friends discussing how stupid I was for not realizing she cheated over the summer, and how sick of me she was. Ouchie. Damn, I'm so sorry. It's such a stab in the heart. I found similar in my ex-husband's iPad. He'd admitted he cheated, so I decided to look through his messages. He was talking constant shit about me, even to one of my friends, all while I was pregnant and helping him financially. The worst was a text he sent his friend, on a day when I was crying in our room cause he literally didn't even look up from his phone when I got home after being gone for 5 days. It turned into a fight when I called out the very obvious change in his behavior lately. He went to go ignore me for hours and told his friend, OMG, she's so crazy, she's crying in the room cause I didn't say hi to her. And a bunch more texts just laughing at how heartbroken I was over being treated like shit my whole pregnancy. Finding out someone died when I thought they were just living a great life. During a funeral I attended, the person giving a speech about the deceased said the worst part about attending a funeral is having to deal with the knowledge that the person isn't still out in the world somewhere being the person you loved. I always thought that was a beautiful way to describe it. Yeah, it's weird. Like I have a long mental list of friends, family, and acquaintances who I don't see frequently anymore. Some of them are dead. But I remember the living ones and the dead ones in the same way, so it always hits me as a new wave of sadness when I remember which loved ones are no longer with us. Sometimes I'll visit old friends or family in a dream and we'll just have a nice day together. Those are my favorite dreams. Having a holiday dinner with my whole family, even the people who aren't here anymore. It's honestly the main reason why I'm religious. I don't care if I get to experience an afterlife, but I hope that my loved ones still exist somewhere besides from my memories. I hope that one day, we'll all get to see each other again. Something that I read on Reddit just the other day really helped shift my perspective. A commenter, basically, said, the odds that we are here and living life together in the universe are, as far as we know, insanely small. But, it happened this one time, so I am of the belief that if it happened even just this once, statistically it could happen again. I like that idea. How many calories are in a chocolate Costco muffin? I was eating their cheese pizza from the food court all the time until I learned each slice was 700 calories. Probably the best dollar to calorie ratio in existence, but I cut down on that pretty fast. Edit, went to Costco and had 2 slices for dinner. This comment got me hungry. Last time I was at Costco, I was about to get a slice, then thought better of it once I saw the calorie count. So instead, I walked out of the store and proceeded to eat 1,900 calories worth of Esmores clusters. I think much like the Freshman 15, there is also a Costco 15 for those of us who got a membership and couldn't stop eating the bulk snacks. I know it got me good when I got my membership years ago. Before we go further, please press the red subscribe button below if you're enjoying this so far. That if I don't initiate contact with my friends, they would never reach out or message me ever. My fault for this when I was in my 20s with friends from high school/college. They always asked to hang out and I never made time for them. Eventually they stopped asking, but we still keep in touch for old people stuff like birthdays and sharing pictures of our kids. Keep in mind, kids, if you keep saying no, eventually they will say no for you. My high school best friend kept asking me to hang out after we graduated, but I was dealing with work, depression, and alcoholism. I didn't want to go and I just shut out my old HS life. In 2021 he shot himself after dealing with his own battles of life. Maybe he'd still be here if I just took him up on his offer. Overheard my best friend being asked why they let me hang around them. Their answer was it was out of pity. Stop hanging out with those people. They are not your friends. There are much better people to hang out with. And you don't deserve that treatment. No one does. Do you think they were being truthful? The only reason I ask this is because I have been asked this question before, and I unfortunately gave an answer like that. It wasn't true, but I said it because I wanted the popular person to like me. I regret it and I'm embarrassed about it. Definitely made me a better friend in the long run, so I'm glad it happened when I was a kid. I once found what looked like an animal bite on my ankle and I was worried about getting rabies. I looked up the symptoms and the first symptom was apparently anxiety. Let's just say that was not helpful. This is so real, LMAO. I got attacked by a dog a few months ago and didn't get the rabies vaccine. It happened at the Humane Society and he'd had his shots. I still have no feeling at the actual bite site, but about a month out the area around the bite started itching and tingling and being painful again, and it sent me on a full-on spiral, especially when I saw anxiety and paranoia were high on the list. Definitely wasn't rabies though, considering that I'm not dead, haha, probably just my nerves relearning they exist or something. I'm not a medical professional, but you really should go see one. I'm not trying to scare you, but tingling and itching at the bite location can be a symptom of rabies, and there are some rare cases of it taking up to a year for symptoms to present. I'm sure you're fine since the Humane Society says they vaccinated the animal, but I'd make them produce the vaccination records for your own peace of mind. At this point, it would be enough to know if the animal is dead or not, because rabies is only present in the saliva to be transmissible in the last 10 or so days before the animal's death, I believe. Throwing rabies out the window, I wonder if you've got some serious nerve damage to still have no feeling where you were bitten months after being bitten. Contact a lawyer too about your rights regarding having the Humane Society pay for your treatment, if any is needed ultimately. Why would they have an aggressive animal available for the public to interact with at all? Triple whammy. My stepmom was a raging alcoholic. My dad worked on the North Slope, Alaska. He was gone for 2-6 weeks at a time. She would spend the whole time he was gone absolutely plastered, and she was not fond of me living there. When I was 14 and she was pissed drunk and mad at life, she told me that my dad wasn't my real dad. That my mom was a cheating slut and he took care of me out of pity. I called my dad after I got her to go lay down and he admitted it was true. 2 years later she killed herself by taking a ton of morphine and chugging a few fifths of vodka. I didn't think it was intentional. I didn't think it was intentional, but her sister came and handed me the suicide note where she said she was killing herself because she hated having me in her life and couldn't be with my dad without having me around. My dad didn't talk to me for 8 years after that. I tried to go live with my mom afterward, and she said I couldn't live with her. She admitted that she was addicted to meth and couldn't support me and her habit. She died 6 years later. Edit * for people's peace of mind, I'm in a much better place in life currently. I'm doing much better, and I've built myself a nice little life. While not flawless or without my own share of mistakes, I'm proud of what I've accomplished and how far I've come. Me and my dad have a much better relationship. Before my mom died, she got sober for nearly a full year. She was well enough in her recovery to meet my children before she passed and spent that year being the world's best grandma. Thank you all for the care, concern, and well wishes. I am so sorry for how many cascading betrayals you've experienced from adults who were supposed to take care of you. Don't be sorry, I'm not. I learned patience for people with mental illness, I learned appreciation for what's in front of you, I learned how to cherish good memories and how to cope with the bad ones. I learned to accept people for what wisdoms they can offer and how to filter what morals don't resound with me, and I learned how damaging even the little lies can be. It made me a stronger, self-sufficient person that knows how to show my children real love. I may struggle sometimes, but I'm doing better than my parents. From what I understand, they did better than their parents as well. Generational trauma takes time to heal, and I'm positive my children will do it even better than me. Thank you for your concern and kind words. That I had a 21-year-old son that I never knew about and that his mother told another guy that he was his father. I regret finding out because all it did was cause drama and hurt in between multiple families. *Edit, I've seen a lot of the same questions and just decided to add the answers here. First, I have not met him yet, so far he refuses to even meet me or his half-brother. He was severely angry with his mother for hiding this for so long and said to her, "I don't care who he is, my dad is the man who raised me, he's my father and I don't want to ever meet that other guy." I've seen pictures of him and he does look like me and like his half-brother, but I have no idea his personality or if we have similar interests. I hope someday we can meet him. Second, I only found out when she got scared when she learned that I did the Ancestry.com DNA test to map out my family tree and she knew her son was about to do it as well and that the truth would come out, so she told me and him in advance of finding out by matching. Third, she told why she didn't tell me, but first the backstory. This was a fling I had when I was 21 with my next-door neighbor who was 33 at the time. I knew her my whole life and always thought she was hot, but she became attracted to me when I got into college, as I got in really good shape physically. I saw her checking me out on multiple occasions and got a chance to shoot my shot one night when my parents were out of town for a week. I was still living at home, and she was always outside working in her garden, so I flirted, invited her over and with some convincing she did. We pretty much slept together every night that week and she told me she was on birth control and stupidly, I believed her. What she didn't tell me was that she already had an arrangement, here's where it gets weird, with a guy from her work that they would have a child together. She was very independent, didn't ever want to get married, but wanted a child, so she apparently found a guy at her work who was in his 50s and well off, who agreed to give her a child and co-parent, as well as provide everything financially to raise the child. I only heard about this arrangement from my mother about a month later when she apparently told them in conversation about this arrangement, and that they were actively trying to get pregnant and that she might already be, she was. I honestly was suspicious if he was mine, but brushed aside those thoughts since she told me she was on birth control and would have been pregnant by then, which she was, but was lying. She told me the reason she never told me is because I was young, hadn't started my career and didn't think I was ready to raise a child either financially or emotionally. She also was embarrassed since she knew my parents for years, knew me since I was young and didn't want her father or my parents to find out. Also, since she already had started talking to this guy about that arrangement, when she found out she was pregnant. She immediately said yes to him and started sleeping with him right away so she could say she was pregnant as soon as possible so the timeline wouldn't be too suspicious. Apparently she kept him from the doctor's appointments, so he just had to believe whatever she told him. So, she lied to me, she lied to the real father and had another man raise and pay for our child his whole life. So understandably the son, the father and I are all very angry with her, as well as other family members. Thanks for watching, please press the like button if you enjoyed and the notification bell next to the subscribe button to never miss another video. Let me know your thoughts below. Bye.